Howdy folks, I have my 1991 convertible on the hoist today, and we're going to be doing probably one of the most difficult service tasks that you can do to one of these cars. No, all jokes aside, we're going to be changing the oil. And I know that a lot of people watching have done thousands and thousands of oil changes, and that's great. This video is probably not going to be for you. This video is going to be for the folks that are brand new to the Mustang world, wondering how to change the oil on one of these small block Ford 302s. I'm going to run you through the process. Hood's popped, the fill cap's off, and we're underneath the car. Now, one thing I should mention is it is recommended that you go out and run your car for a short period of time prior to changing the oil. And the reason being is you want to get oil circulation all the way up and to the top of the motor before you go and drain all your oil. Because if your car's been sitting for months on end and you just drop all the oil out of it, essentially the top half of your engine is starved for oil when you go to fire this thing up after changing the oil. So it is recommended to get some fluid running to the top end of the motor, get some oil up there and lube everything up, and then get underneath here and change the oil. So on these small block Ford 302 high outputs, you've got an oil pan. If you're using the OEM's oil pan, you've got two drain plugs here and here. You need to drain both of them. Okay, so it's a 5/8 wrench or socket. Get those off. I always start with the back one, drain it, and then move to the front. Okay, we got both sides, both drain plugs pulled, drained, put back in, and tightened up. Now, when you have those drain plugs out, make sure you inspect them. There is a little bit of a crush washer, or I mean, there's all kinds of different versions out there, kind of a plastic washer. Inspect that, make sure it's not beat, because that is, well, one of the main things that's going to seal that drain plug up against the oil pan. While you're under here, you know, just make sure you keep a tight eye and inspect things as you go, right? Keep the eye out for other oil leaks, you know, rear main seal stuff, oil pan. Just be cognizant of all the other moving parts that's going on around here, because you may be able to catch yourself noticing something and catch it before it gets completely out of hand. Now, sticking with the oil change, next thing up, we got to pull our oil filter. Okay folks, just to show you what I'm doing here, because a lot of you are probably wondering what the hell I'm doing with cardboard. Well anyway, I take a piece of cardboard, it's probably, I don't know, 8 inches wide and probably 10, 11 inches long, and I just shove it up in there underneath the oil filter, and this gives me the ability to not have oil falling all over my steering rack and everything. So yeah, just a little trick that I do to keep things tidy. Back the oil filter off enough to get it kind of draining a little bit, and drain her out and keep your underside nice and clean. Oil filter's off, and when you get your oil filter off, you want to just again do some inspection. Definitely make sure that this rubber O-ring came off with your oil filter, okay? I'll show you on a new one what that looks like, okay? You do not want to leave that rubber O-ring behind, okay? And they can do that. It only takes doing this once to know forever. Because if you double O-ring one of these, you are going to blast oil all over the place between those two rubber O-rings. So sometimes it can get hung up on that machine surface of the block that the oil filter or the O-ring ultimately tightens up against. So make sure that O-ring comes off, okay? Now, with your new oil filter, take yourself some fresh oil, okay? And just run a little bit around the ring. So it's got some lubricity to it, and put this guy on. Now, the other trick to this is you do not want to put this oil filter on and make it screaming tight, okay? You just wanna get her on there and get it like bumped tight, okay? And you should make sure to obviously clean this machine surface off on the block that your oil filter is gonna mate up to. So get this guy on there, right? Get him threaded. Okay, starting to get tight. Keep going. And just hand tight, okay? That's it. That's all you need. Don't get in there with a wrench and torque the hell out of it. You do not need it that tight. Allow that rubber O-ring to do its thing. Okay, and finally we're gonna top her up with oil. Now, I'm well aware of the fact that the oil debate runs deep, but here's the bare bones basics for those of you that are interested. So you want to run a thinner weighted oil if you're operating in cooler temperatures. My cars don't operate in cooler temperatures. I only have them out in the spring, summer, and fall, all of which is above freezing weather. So I run a 1030. In this case, it's a synthetic product from Lucas. You can run whatever oil you want. I mean, it's totally up to you, but a heavier weighted oil like a 1030 in the warmer temperatures is actually recommended by Ford in these small block 302s. If you're running below freezing temps, they recommend a 530. So take that for whatever it's worth. Now the oil capacity in one of these units with a stock oil pan on it is about 5 quarts with a filter change and everything, which ends up being about 4.7, 4.8 liters for those of you that are up above the border in Canada. So I got a 5-liter jug here to which I'm going to be using just about all of it. Don't get too rowdy when you're pouring here. You can get a build up and a bubble going there that'll really make a mess of your insulation on your hood and or your face. Okay, so now finally get your funnel out of the way, put your oil cap back on for now. We might be putting more oil in it, but we're going to fire it up, make sure we got oil pressure, check for leaks, let it run for a minute, and then we'll check the oil and make sure we got the right amount of oil in there. Okay. I'm gonna watch for oil pressure. Should have none right out of the gate, and then it should build. There it goes. It's a good sign. So we'll just let it do its thing here. Get some oil circulation going. Other than that tired old power steering pump, all looks well. You can even give it a little bit of a rev here just to get things going and build up more pressure. Okay, now we're going to check the oil and see how we did. Bang on! Right, so once you've checked your oil and you make sure you're in the safe zone, the hash mark area, okay? You don't want to be too full, you don't want to be under full, you want to be right in the hash marks. Make sure you're there, then roll around underneath the car again, triple, quadruple check everything. You'll thank me for this later. If you find something that you could fix while you're still on jack stands or whatever, and you're not finding out down the road when you're going for ice cream with the family. So I think that's going to do it for this one, folks. Thanks so much for watching. If you think this will help somebody else out there, please share it with them. That's why I do these videos. I love to help out the community in any way I can. So thanks for watching. I really appreciate you, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye for now.